Very good evening and welcome to Power News, your window to the power sector. In today's episode, we're going to have a discussion on challenges in fast-track execution of power projects and fuel supply. And to discuss the same, we've been joined by Mr. Anil Swarup, Additional Secretary, Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India; Dr. Arvind Prasad, Director General, FICCI. We also have with us Dr. Arup Roy Chaudhary, CMD, NTPC; Mr. R.S. Sharma, Managing Director, Jindal Power; Mr. S.N. Verma, CMD, Jharkhand Urja Vikas Nigam; and Mr. Ratul Puri, Chairman, Hindustan Power Projects. Very good evening. Mr. Swarup, in India, what we mainly see is lack of coordination among different ministries while achieving and planning the 5-year plan target. On one hand, we talk of adding 1 lakh megawatt capacity. On the other hand, we are not sure of fuel supply to run them on 100% PLF. CIL is also not able to meet the coal production target, and to add to it, we have Environment Ministry's go and no-go area policy. Why don't we take everything into consideration at the planning stage to avoid hurdles and failures during implementation?
You know, setting up of a power project is a complex process. Indeed, there are a number of clearances required, whether such a project is set up in India or elsewhere in the world. So there would be a need for clearances from various segments like the environment and forest and ensuring fuel supply. I think it was in this context that the government took a decision to set up the CCI, the Cabinet Committee on Investments, and to assist CCI, the project monitoring group, which I head. The idea of setting up this group was to ensure that if there are any bottlenecks in setting up these projects, they are looked at in a coordinated manner in discussion with the various stakeholders, various ministries, and to get them moving. And my understanding is in the past 10 months that the project monitoring group has been there has been substantial progress in terms of clearing these bottlenecks.
So what were the challenges that you observed while clearing these projects?
You know, primarily there had not been any FSA, fuel supply agreement, signed for the past couple of years. So that was one of the major reasons why the projects were held up. Ultimately, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs did take a decision for enabling signing of 78,000 megawatt of power projects in the month of July last year, and consequent to which FSAs have been signed for more than 70,000 megawatt. And the data that is available to me is that about 52,000 megawatt worth of project are actually on stream. They are generating power. So a lot seems to have happened. That is one part of it. The second part is the environment clearance. Yes, that was an issue. There were problems with environment clearances. But once we had this subgroup going and this mechanism in place for resolution of issues, a large number of environmental issues have been sorted out. And the fact that so many power projects have gone on stream and started generating power is evidence to the fact that these clearances have been got.
In recent 1 year, government has tried to fast-track environmental and other regulatory clearances to important infrastructure projects, and PM office has been directly monitoring the progress. In fact, Mr. Anil Swarup has been heading this committee, but this has happened after 3 to 4 years when several infra projects got stuck and government suddenly cleared most of the projects at one go. Can we have a separate dedicated empowered committee who could be responsible for these mega power projects so that they are commissioned as per schedule?
No, there are two issues. One, the coordination between ministries relating to power and energy. One could be that you have the Ministry of Energy and you have different departments. And second, there is a coordination required with other ministries, maybe Environment and Forest, maybe Ministry of Land Resources, Ministry of Railways. So at that level, at some level, either the PM level or the Cabinet Committee, that mechanism will have to be there on a continuous basis. In addition, from the experience, what we gained from Mr. Anil Swarup's experience, was to try to simplify the process itself rather than trying to work on the individual projects. To begin with, it was a good initiative and it did bring results. But now we need to simplify those processes based on the learnings we had. Large projects pending for 6 years now have been cleared. So now we should learn from those processes what were the things which were holding them back, and we should try to simplify those processes so that in future we don't have to resort to the special mechanism.
So Dr. Prasad says that lessons should be learned from the experience. Mr. Swarup, would you like to add here that what could be done to avoid this in the future?
Once we looked at these problems, we could attempt to ascertain what were the reasons for these to happen. So what we have attempted to do is, after the experience that we had for first 10 months, we are now looking at the processes that have created these problems. And consequently, in our discussion with the Ministry of Environment and Forest, which has now come to agree with us, we are going to digitize the entire process right from the movement of application to enabling the industry to track this application where it is pending. And that has made considerable headway. And we are hopeful that at least for forest clearance, the industry will be able to file applications on the web from the 1st of July and will be able to track where the application is. And we've also managed to put timelines on each officer or how much time they would take. That's step one. The other step that we've taken is to see whether a similar system could be built in for getting mining leases, because that's another area which is problematic.
We'll carry on this discussion, but after this short break, you keep watching Power News.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
From manufacturing of energy cables to EHV installations to renewable energy solutions to retail energy products, our technology energizes lives. Ravin, energizing lives.
भरोसा, हिफाजत, मजबूती। कौन सजाएगा तुम्हारा घर विश्वास के साथ? किसकी परछाई में महफूज रहोगे तुम? कौन रखेगा तुम्हारा घरौंदा सलामत? एक नाम जो देता आया है भारत की हर इमारत को बुनियाद, अब उसी पे खड़ा होगा आपका मकान। जिंदल स्टील एंड पावर पेश करते हैं जिंदल पैंथर, सच्चे सरिये की पहचान, पैंथर का निशान।
मैं नहीं सोऊंगा, मेरे बेड के नीचे मॉन्स्टर है।
रोहन, मॉन्स्टर्स रियल नहीं होते।
होते हैं मॉम, वो रात को मुझे हु हु करके डराता है।
अच्छा, अगर डर लगे तो लाइट ऑन कर देना।
अंधेरे में स्विच कैसे ढूंढूं? अगर मॉन्स्टर ने मेरा हाथ खा लिया तो?
अभी सो जाओ, कल देखते हैं।
Switch on to Monster Gone. L&T switches, easy to locate in the dark. The only switch with a 12-year warranty.
Power Grid Corporation of India, the central transmission utility, world-class integrated global transmission company with dominant leadership in emerging power market, ensuring reliability, safety and economy. Power Grid, building a smarter grid.
Welcome back. Mr. Sharma, you have served the government company and now you're serving private company. What challenges you see in fast-track execution of power projects?
The issues are not only at the ministry or the government of India level. You see, a power project not only goes to the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Coal, but also goes to the state governments. The state governments also issues are plenty. And what I have found the problems, the people sitting over the file for a long time. I can tell you the expert committee, that you have created an expert committee for the environmental clearances. Expert committee clears or recommends the project. Why should it take 1 year? Why should it take 8 months? Why the people are required to run around? Then why the people are not even allowed to meet the concerned people? And this is what I want to bring, Mr. Swarup, to your notice, that let's say I was formerly a public sector person. If I am going to secretary, he will be very happy to meet. But why certain thing that if I am now, I have come to the private sector, and I do not want to name, but why such type of issues are there that you are not ready even to listen to the problems? The real problem is that you are not even ready to listen. Even as the FICCI chairman, Power Factor Chairman, if I have asked for the time, they are not free. So unless and until the people sitting in the position of the power, or people who have to take the decision, they are going to listen to the people, what's the problem? The issue you are not going to get addressed, whatsoever you can do. But let me tell you another thing. Please fix up the timeline. Let's say, sir, if the expert committee recommends, let us say 2 months, 3 months, automatically it must come. If, let us say, state government, I have applied for certain consent established, if it doesn't clear my case in 1 month, then automatically it should presume to come.
I think Mr. Sharma has hit the nail on the head. There are two principal issues that he's raised. There should be least necessity of a private sector entrepreneur chasing files. His job is to implement the project, not chase files. And this can be done through use of IT applications. I don't think in the PMG there is need for anybody to come to us, because we negotiate or we talk to them through the portal, which is a transparent portal. So he puts up a problem there, a date is fixed, he comes to the meeting, a tripartite discussion happens, and we attempt to resolve the issue. I think it's a systematic way in which this should happen. I'd like to inform you, and you'll be happy to know, that 14 states in this country have decided to set up state project monitoring group. They will function in the same manner as the central project monitoring group. Will solve the problem of your attempting to find time with somebody to meet him, because there will be a structured institution available for you to interface. I don't think it will solve all the problems of the country. But the fact of the matter is it will provide an institutional platform for you to discuss with the powers that be. That is one. The second point that you mentioned related to timelines for everything. Now here, no one will disagree that there should be timelines for every decision that needs to be taken. But the point is that have we gone into the details of what should be the reasonable timelines and how it could be implemented? And as I was mentioning earlier, in case of environment and forest, we have managed to freeze timelines for each set of activity. And this will be transparently visible to the industry that moves an application. To me, I hope it happens, and if it happens, it will be revolutionary in this country, because you will know where your application is pending, you will know for how much time he's sitting, and that guy who's sitting on the application also knows that the world knows for how much time he's sitting. This transparency will itself expedite the process, and our experience in PMG clearly demonstrates that the moment you put it on the portal, the moment you open it for everyone's vision, everyone can see it, things start improving.
So I think it's a very good move taken by Mr. Sarup and his committee. I wish it had come a little earlier, 2-3 years back, then things would have been much better. Mr. Puri, let's take your views.
I think one of the areas that I think also that needs to be addressed is one where we see regular and frequent changes in policy guidelines, in policies and in guidelines, which then take industry by surprise. A clarification of a guideline that came out that said you cannot begin construction on non-forest land, revenue land, you cannot begin construction on revenue land, you cannot start the implementation of a project until you don't have complete clearance of on forest land. And this policy guideline in a period of 3 months was changed 2 times. So it went from saying you cannot do it to you can do it to you cannot do it. So I think as we change policies, as we bring in new guidelines, I think there's a need for a transitionary phase. So to state, great, we are now going to put this regulation into place. I'm certain it's with good intention, it's for the benefit of the country, benefit of the nation. But you say, okay, this is going to get implemented prospectively sometime in the future, and there's going to be a transitionary phase. I think that then gives industry time to plan. I'm willing to work around any guideline, any law that exists in the country. I just need to plan for it. And I think that measure, I think, can have a significant impact in terms of easing out some of the bottlenecks these projects are facing today.
You know, I think another extremely valid point, we can't suddenly change the policy. And the way to go about it, again, something which we are attempting to practice here is, before you come out with a policy or policy change, please have an interaction with the stakeholders who are going to either suffer or benefit out of it. Once you do that, you can still come out with a policy, I mean, if it is required. But the moment you open yourself up to discussions, as we are attempting to do in the PMG, where we refuse to take any decision until we've taken the stakeholders on board. The beauty of opening up is that you get a lot of feedback. Ultimately, decision has to be taken by the government. Government can still take a decision it wants to take, but why deprive itself of the benefit of the knowledge that exists and the problems that may accrue? I totally agree with what you've said.
We'll quickly take another short break. Keep watching Power News.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
Jal, jal, jal.
जल से जल तक, मेगा वाटर से मेगावाट्स तक, SJVN Limited.
Power Finance Corporation, the most preferred financial institution, providing affordable and competitive products and services with efficient and internationally integrated sourcing. PFC, partnering the reforms in the Indian power sector.
Welcome back. You're watching Power News, and in today's episode, we're having a discussion on challenges in fast-track execution of power projects and issues related to fuel supply. Dr. Chaudhary, can we also have your views on the same? What are the challenges in fast-track execution of power projects according to you?
Generally, I would like to take the discussion a little different from what is happening. Today, if I look at the power sector, I need coal for power. I need land for power. You look at the coal map of India, you look at the tribal map of India, you look at the forest map of India, superimpose them. They are all in the same place, you know. So we are not looking at the other stakeholder, which is the state government and the people who live there. And we have to change the way we look at conceiving projects. I think as a country, time has come where 2-3 things have to be looked at. What's the state subject? What's the central subject? We are very proud to be a federal democracy, but we are stuck up between the state and this thing. This effort which was done by the Cabinet Secretary and Mr. Swaroop going to all the states have yielded good results, but also has not yielded results. He knows that. Letters written by the Principal Secretary, spoken to by the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, to the Chief Secretary, things have not worked. For months they have not worked, you know. So this is, we can keep on discussing this, but as long as the people, there is no political will, there is no stakeholders' will to do a project, the project will never get done. Let's talk of anything that we want. And we must also understand the third thing. There has to be answerability. We have file trackers in all ministries today, in PSUs today. You just look at the files which get stuck. If it is stuck with a particular ministry, is the secretary answerable? Does it reflect on his ACR? In a company, yes, you are answerable. Because at the end of the day, despite all the difficulties that there were, we were asked to perform as per our capex.
We have been talking about this paradigm shift for the past decade or so, and the shift has not happened. So we must understand why that shift has not happened, because our statement, our manner in which we are mentioning it, is probably not effective enough to bring about a paradigm shift. Perhaps we've ignored certain other dimensions of implementation of the projects which have so far been ignored and now being addressed. Hence, it does appear that people are listening to what we are telling them. We have very clearly demonstrated to them that things can move if you want them to move in a particular transparent manner. In PMG, in a very effective manner, we are trying to demonstrate that how this paradigm shift can actually be brought about. By mentioning ministries like environment, by mentioning ministries like coal, we are not saying that these are small issues. These are certainly very, very important issues which ultimately also impact the paradigm shift that we are talking of.
Mr. Verma, states' share has gone down in recent years. Jharkhand is a state where with huge coal reserves, but very few power projects have come up in the state. What challenges have you come across while implementing mega projects?
The idea was there in the country to have a single window clearance, but we lost it. Somewhere we lost it. I believe sometimes some place at Gujarat and Maharashtra, Andhra, we can see that to some extent, but the other state it has lost fully. I will add regarding Jharkhand that we have taken 2 years to have all the clearances to go for the RFQ for a power project of 30-20 megawatt. Now it has gone in RFQ after 2 years. I believe that the arms of the Cabinet Secretary will to increase further to have that power and to have that jurisdiction that it will be a single window clearance. Whosoever state will make such power project, they have to come to them and they will seek all such clearances, and that too in a very time manner, that this is the time fixed for that thing and that it has to happen. Because when you go to the state government, the stakeholders, that seriousness is not there, that the time limit is not there. They don't feel that the project, if the project is not developed, the state will not develop. And that's so you are looking at Jharkhand. The all 13 years of Jharkhand age, not a single megawatt has been added, where all such avenues and sansadhan which is available in the Jharkhand for developing power. For last 2 years I am there, and I am running post to pillar to how to get all such clearances to go for a power project, and I have come to a RFQ stage after 2 years. So this is something very painful to see on the forum where all the experts are sitting, that let us meet, make some such rules, let us have single window clearance system, let us implement on the state that this will happen. There is no other way. As they make law and order situation possible from the even center grip, why can't we make the power development from the center grip? That's my thing.
I think I agree with Verma completely. He is actually saying that we must have a single window clearance. He suggested that to be from the cabinet secretariat or whether it is from the state government. We need to have this paradigm shift on a single window clearance for infrastructure projects, wherever we are looking at development of the economy. And how we will do that, I agree with Mr. Swaroop also. We've been talking about it for 20 years. Probably we are talking this again today, but I would request you people to look at the Delhi Metro model. I was involved in that, and the Deputy Prime Minister of the country used to have a weekly review. So therefore, the single window clearance is an ideal thing. At what level we place it is something which I think I am not competent to decide, but that single window has to be a position where the economic projects are put and the single window clearance is given, be it public or private. I'm not talking of, it's a sectoral issue.
I think, let me develop this idea further. I think the idea should be a single window. There's no doubt about it. I think for the past 2 decades, we've been talking about single window. Let us see how we develop it and how we are attempting to do it. My vision is that we should allow the industry to move all clearance applications on the web. We should then be able to fix responsibility with regard to delays. Right now, it is so spread and it's so many agencies that even if I want to fix responsibility, I cannot. But if it's on the web, through an MIS, we can actually find out who's sitting on which paper for how much time. Now, the initiative that we've taken in the context of land and forest may appear to be an initiative in one context, but it provides a platform where you can effectively create a single window, a web-based single window. Now, imagine a scenario where mining, like coal, where environment, forest, water availability, land acquisition, all this moves on the web. What could be a better single window?
Well, we'll continue this discussion in next week's episode as well. Till then, it's goodbye and take care.